So we thank you all very much for presenting your portions of the work and what your plans are. We do have time for some questions, and I've been looking through and trying to answer some of what people have been submitting. I think one of the things that we have a lot of interest in is how are we going to ensure that people with disabilities and their families are being heard, that they have an opportunity to participate, that this isn't going to be provider driven. This is going to be driven by the people who actually need the services and want to guide their own lives. So I'll turn this over to you guys for an answer. What do you think? How would you respond to that?
Think I can respond to that. The ARC is not a
Okay.
provider, and we're the one who is, we have curated this survey with our team. And it's because we have a really unique opportunity at the ARC of Illinois that all of our directors are parents of children with disabilities. So our community outreach, when we talk about the places we're going, is because of our community partners and not necessarily because of providers. We work with providers, and we partner with them, but this is real community driven, family groups, community groups, libraries, where we may work with the providers to have the families come out to these events, but we're not necessarily working with them directly. So it's their voices. So another very open, again, while we've been on this call, I've actually gotten 3 emails from people on this webinar saying, come here and talk here. So we will. So these opportunities too, for us to be a public entity, and for you to know that we are available to listen to your communities and your voices. And once again, we will be having virtual listening sessions as well that will be statewide. So you and your family can attend, and you can bring people that maybe don't even know we're here, and make sure that your voices are heard. We will make sure there are ample opportunities in the next 6 months for you to do just that.
Yeah, and this is Caitlin from UIC, and I think that's a really great and important question. And it's something, I will say that our university center and our department is almost entirely people with disabilities, including developmental disabilities, including people receiving services. Not everyone, but a lot. So we have that representation. We have a consumer advisory committee. Don't love the name, but that's what they're called. That includes families, includes people with disabilities. But I think we're still trying to continue to be more and more intentional about how people who self-advocates are involved, especially in research, and are sometimes they're university, and I think just the university system makes that really difficult because people with self-advocates are seen as vulnerable populations, right? So that makes it so hard to go through these bureaucratic processes, and to pay people too. So it's something that we continue to think about how to do inclusive research with self-advocates leading. But it's a really great question. So I just wanted to add that.
Okay.
What I would add, and those were very good. First of all, thanks to everybody that put those questions forward. And because I believe, at least over the course of the several years and meetings we've been a part of, that's been a reoccurring item for each of our discussions, which is ensuring that the work that gets done here is being driven with person-centered services and supports and input by design. I want to go back to something I think Doug led off with, which is what we're hoping to accomplish with this first year. And this first year is about learning, gathering data, getting information, less about attempting to make any trajectory decisions about the future and services and supports. And speaking for my association and our engagement, I don't foresee a situation where when we get data, we look at that data where there are decisions potentially made about, at least with respect to recommendations on policy, that those decisions would be made in isolation, made exclusively by this group, without input from individuals and families. I don't see a future where that would occur, if you take my meaning. And just wanted to make sure that that was put out there as well. I think there was a question about the council. The council was involved in a lot of our early conversations when we were pulling this coalition together. I just think because they're sort of a quasi-governmental, non-governmental group, that there may be some, I don't want to say conflicts is a strong word, I guess, but some potential issues about them signing on to receive the grant application. But it's my understanding conversations continue with the council now, and there's every intention to continue to work with not just the Council on DD, but also the Division of Developmental Disabilities within DHS as well.
Yeah, and I think too that what what we've talked about from the very beginning with this whole coalition idea is building partnerships of getting away from the dictatorial, okay, this is what you've got to have, this is what you're offered, to get away from that and instead to build partnerships with individuals, to build partnerships with families, to build partnerships with the state, and to create a way for everybody to work together that's being driven by what the person needs. And that has been a focus of our conversation almost from the very beginning, is how do we do this so that people have a voice, so that it's not being told what they're going to get, but being able to say and receive, this is what I want, this is what I need. And that's really what we're all about. And as we move along, as Josh said, as I said it earlier on, as we move out of this information gathering portion of the grant and moving into what kind of changes need to be made, what's going to be offered, how are we going to look at things, that all depends upon what we find out during this first year as we're talking to people and finding out what they struggle with, what they need, what they want. I know we had one question about, folks that once they leave the school system and are waiting for other services, that oftentimes there's nothing out there. That's been something that may have been one of the earliest questions that we had, is how do you deal with that gap? What can be done so that somebody doesn't leave the school program and think, oh, I've got 4 or 5 or 6 years now where nothing's going to happen. And we know that that's such a critical time, and people lose skills if they don't use skills. And to sit there and wait for 4 or 5 years is a tragedy. And so we want to find a way to make sure that doesn't happen and that we can move things forward.
Yeah.
Does anybody else have anything they want to add about? Okay. I'm looking through people's questions here.
Doug, if the chat's there, can you put my email in the chat? I got
I
3
can do
more.
that.
And someone said, I'm not sure if I got your email right. You did, Cindy. You did get my email right. I'll respond later, but it's Samantha@thearcofil.org.
Make sure my spelling is right. All right.
Oh, I'm so
Doug,
sorry. I didn't see it.
that just went to the host and panelists. I don't know if that went to everyone.
Oh, let me change that.
And somebody's asking for everyone's email. Please put or if you can make the chat so everyone can see it, I can put my email too.
Okay, you should just be able to click on chat down below and it should open it up.
No, it doesn't.
I will also add that in the original invitation, there was an email address, info@disabilitypartnersil.org. Anything you send there will come to me, and I can share with everybody else what we've got, and try to answer any questions. And then once the website goes live, we will have a place where questions can be asked directly, where information can be stored and shared with everybody who's interested.
Yep. Somebody asked if the recording is being shared. Did you talk
Yes,
about that earlier?
again, as soon as the website goes live, the recording of this webinar will be shared on the website so that people can watch it or download it. And I'm not sure why the chat isn't working.
I think it's disabled for everyone except for you. But there are some other questions that we haven't answered. Should we?
Okay, jump right in.
I don't know if I'm the best one to answer all of these, but
Okay.
but I can read some of the ones I don't think that have been answered. Oh, will the examination also include an assessment of the crisis system? So like SST, SSH, respite, etc.
So can I jump in real fast, Caitlin?
Sure.
So one of the things, and this just occurred to me, because again, after several months of meetings about these topics, is to what element did we work into this application and expectations, things that we think we know we need to fix and how we think we know we need to fix them. Fix being a interesting word, I guess, to use there. So taking a step back from that is there are a number of issues, rightly so, that are raised with some of these Q&A about, serving individuals with severe and profound developmental disabilities, folks with co-occurring conditions and needs. For example, individuals aging out, how we seem to cyclically hit this situation where individuals aging out of children and youth care into the adult care there, where we get backlogged. At least my viewpoint is avoiding making too many assumptions about what we think is needed and how we think it needs to be addressed, and instead rely on the data that we're going to gather from all these events that the ARC and the Institute, that the ARC and Caitlin's group, UIC, is going to be organizing over the next several weeks and months. Having been at this for 20 years, I think there's some things that I believe, based on input from my members and others, how it should be addressed, but that could represent provider bias, has been, raised earlier. And so I think part of this effort is taking a step back to really get a clean look at what the thousands of individuals and families are telling us, so that we've got a good contemporary data set to move from. So that's sort of my partial response to some of the questions about, well, what are we going to be doing about this issue? What are we going to be doing about that issue? I think that's a bit downstream in terms of when we get the data, when that data is discussed with state agencies that have jurisdiction over services and fund services. I think that's a bit downstream. So I wouldn't want to be too presumptuous when I say, what are we doing about the number of individuals that are aging out of the DCFS system, for example?
And I just want to go ahead, Kathy, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to, jumping off from that topic, Josh, I just want to, I think we know it and assure people this is not the only thing that any of us are focused on. And so that topic in particular, several of us are involved with providers who deliver those services, who this is like issue number one for them. So I just want to underscore that, I don't want anyone to think, hey, this is the only thing happening in the system right now.
Right.
Some of the other very clear threats to our system, I think, are things that all of us are burning the midnight oil on, so to speak. Part of our effort with Coleman was to be able to demonstrate some forward movement so that they can see the value of this model, and they can see the value in continuing, to partner with us beyond a year one application. So just wanted to add that, Josh, to your comments. Thanks.
Okay, well, before we wrap up, I do want to offer my apology. I thought that the chat was working. I don't know why it's not, because we intended this to be a two-way conversation and to hear the input of folks, so I'm not sure what went wrong there. So that's on our end. It wasn't our intent, my intent to keep anybody from chatting or anything like that, so I do apologize for that. We're getting very close to the end here, so I want to thank everybody for attending, for listening to what we have to say. Again, if you have specific questions that you want to put forth, the email address for information about the coalition is info@disabilitypartnersil.org. info@disabilitypartnersil.org. And when I send out the slide deck and other information to all the people that registered, I will include that additional information so that everybody has access to that. All right, well, thank you all again, and I look forward to working with everybody and developing partnerships. Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.